morning, everybody. You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a podcast brought to you by Joy's House. Caregiver Crossing is a podcast that was created just for you, the caregiver. I'm Tina McIntosh.
I'm her friend, Terri Lynn Stacy from Hancock County, Indiana. And we're here every week with experts from across the country. And I think we do provide some comfort and lots of resources and hopefully some joy to our caregivers. This podcast serves to embrace the family caregivers of today and tomorrow. And thank you all so much for joining us today. We've got an interesting topic today, Tina.
Okay, so if people don't know you or me personally, they might not understand how much we love animals. I mean, like, if you want to get into our hearts, talk about animals, all of them. Yeah.
I even feed the spiders in the corner of my house right now that are all moving in for the winter. And I even feed them.
Is that because you're not cleaning?
Well, some might think so, but I feel like that they have a right to be here too, as long as they're not giant and they seem fine.
I'm not a fan of spiders. I put fleas in their
spider webs. I find fleas on the dog.
What in the world?
And I dip them off and I put them in the spider webs.
Okay, this is not the route we're headed with this, people. And I feel like Terri and I are going to have an offline conversation. Are you serious? Don't answer that question.
How can I make that up?
I don't know that you could. I really don't know. You know, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people get a little sensitive to or think that it's a foolish thing sometimes, but it's emotional support animals and assistance animals. I think people understand the, like a CNI dog or dogs who help people realize when they're getting ready to have a seizure, things like that. But emotional support animals are real. And so we're going to talk about all this and benefits to just pet ownership in general and what that does for us. So there are studies that tell us that animals can help decrease depression and anxiety. They can lower blood pressure. Do you know that they say just petting a dog, Terri, can lower blood pressure?
It's so wonderful. And you'll find, I think, in more of the senior communities now, they're getting kind of that pet to have around, whether that's a bird or, a talking bird, a beautiful talking bird, or whether that are senior dogs that more of them are adopting from places around. But I think that they finally because there was a time when you couldn't bring your pet, and that was a hard decision for people that had a pet for so long to let go of that pet before they could move into a community. And I think that they're getting a lot better with cats and dogs and letting you bring them with you to those senior communities now, because they realize and they see the benefits in the studies, the actual research that says, yes, this is like a great drug for,
it is because
for all of us.
Not only the blood pressure, not only the, depression and anxiety, but it of course helps us overcome some loneliness and agitation, and it dulls physical pain. And it's just a lot. It provides routine. It causes people to get up. So let's dive into it a little bit. Let's play a game. I like playing games with Terri. So
I do too.
According to the National Poll on Healthy Aging, what percentage of seniors do you think said that their pets help them enjoy life?
Oh, I would say that's got to be, a big number. It's going to be like in the 80s or 90s, if not 100%. You're right. If you have a dog, you have them for a very specific reason, right?
Well, or you're just stuck with them. I think some people, as they get older, they don't want, the responsibility, but 88%. So you're spot on. 88% of seniors said that their pets help them enjoy their life. And 86% said their pets made them feel loved. I don't know how you cannot feel loved by your pet, especially if it's a dog.
Right.
When you go to the mailbox and you come back in and they're happy to see you.
Where have you been? It just is amazing that medicine that they provide for us, truly. But I know that there are differences between a pet, an emotional support animal, and a service animal. I'm told that there are real differences between them.
There is. I want to talk about this because, my oldest daughter, Maya, went off to college. She's, living in a different state right now. And Terri, I don't know if you know, she got a kitten. Did you know that she got a cat?
She got a kitten. She's allowed to have the kitten.
She is. And it's a sweetest little black cat. She named her Indy after Indianapolis. I love it. But so, there's a difference. And she and I were talking about this because, if you're owning a pet, that's great, but it does not require any kind of a medical diagnosis or special training for you to have that pet. If you want to register your pet as an emotional support animal or get one for the first time, the owner has to have a letter from a medical health professional. So a doctor, a therapist, somebody stating that the patient has been diagnosed, and it puts them in need of an emotional support animal. So that could be depression, anxiety, isolation, PTSD. There's a lot of stuff. And so there's no special training or certifications, but they are expected to be, non-aggressive and well-behaved.
Right.
And then
this is what got so controversial on when we fly.
Yes.
Because there was a time, maybe in 2020, when everybody that was flying with anything that they could count as they were goats or, chickens or anything.
There's nothing wrong with taking your goats or chickens.
Or no, but everybody, because there was a little bit of a confusion as to what qualified as an assistance animal or a therapy really animal.
And I'm joking, that because we have goats and chickens.
Right. But
Terri
the joy that the goats bring you. Oh my goodness.
Well, and I'm saying
you would, yeah.
I would not take them on a plane. But here's the thing I have with that is whether it's taking them on a plane or it's a roommate at a nursing home or, for my daughter, it's roommates in college. Well, right. There are people who are afraid of animals. There are two people who have allergies to them. And so I wonder about that, like on a plane, how you can take a cat and sit next to me if I have allergies. I think there are so many questions about that, but
people were bringing everything. Turkeys. I remember a story about a therapy turkey that made its way onto a plane.
And who
people were like, enough.
Who determined it was a therapy turkey? I mean, that's the question, right?
She had a letter.
A letter from who? Like her 8-year-old? I don't understand.
I don't remember, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
I have more questions than answers right now. But here, and the confusing part is because both the emotional support animal and the trained certified service animals that are very specific, then they are all referred to as assistance animals. And I think that's where people really got confused. Joy, our producer, is telling us that there is a limited amount of animals that are allowed on flights nowadays. And I wonder if that, Joy, is per flight or if it is because the animal. But yeah, she says it's to space out those who have allergies. It's per flight.
Yeah.
Smart. Okay. Okay, so let's ask another question is what would be the benefit of having this registered emotional support animal? Why would you do it?
The benefit is that they would not leave your sight. I mean, you could really literally take them anywhere with you. You don't have to just leave them at home. If you've got a registered animal, now that animal can go with you to certain restaurants and obviously grocery shopping. I see assistance and service dogs all the time at the grocery, on the bus. That dog never is without you, or you're without the dog. Or
no, I see those two, and you see the ones who are in training. Quit talking about the turkey. I can't even with the turkey. I see the ones that are in training that wear the vests, right? And you're supposed to not talk with them when they're in training or not talk with them when they're working. But what about emotional support animals? Did they wear anything special that identifies them as?
I think they have to have a special vest of some sort. It has to be, I think you would want it to be, actually, if that was your therapy dog, your service dog, you would want them to be marked in a way that people would know that dog is there to help you or animal.
However, it's not the emotional support animal that gets registered. It's you as a person. So I think you can get the vest showing that they're an ESA, an emotional support animal, but it's you that gets registered, not the animal. The turkey doesn't have to wear the vest, although it sounds like you can get one made at your turkey specialist store. But you, Terri, would need to be the one who gets registered. It's just an interesting discrepancy. Now, I know when we had all those issues years ago, a lot of people were going online and they were printing off something that said like, yeah, my cat's an emotional support cat, but those are scams. Do not do those, people. They will scam you in a heartbeat and take your money. So, oh my golly, there's so much we can talk about this. I do want to talk about some things just to be aware of as we get older, particularly since we work, primarily with caregivers here in Caregiver Crossing. We do need to be careful. I have seen the sweetest, most gentle dog lift his paw ever so gently and place it on an elderly woman's arm, like with love, and then pull it. She pulled her arm back and it ripped her open like she had been filleted.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's
Yeah.
bruising, there are cuts, there are infections that can come from that. There are other
Yeah.
diseases and just
Very fragile.
general cleanliness, and then also stress on the animal. So, I think we're very selfish often. And I could say, oh, my dog, my boxer Phoebe is an ESA, an emotional support animal, and I get my recommendation from my doctor. But what if she's a nervous wreck going into that grocery store? We've also got to be aware of what it does to the animals. So
especially those others, those that are really certified have been trained. I worked with Indiana Canine Assistance Network for a long time, which are the dogs that are from puppy on go into the prison system, and the prisoners, the offenders there work with the dog to train them to be a service animal. And it takes about a year and a half, I think. And then a year and a half later, then they graduate and they go into someone's home. So they really, and so many of those animals are disqualified because because of the stress on them, because
yes.
they just can't get into an elevator. They don't like an escalator. A siren sound will jar them in a way that they're not paying attention anymore. So yeah, so many of them are disqualified. So those that really make it through the Indiana Canine Assistance Network or some of those others, they've really been vetted and are ready to go. So, it's those you're talking about that don't have to be certified. You have to know your dog or your cat or your turkey well enough to know that they're under stress, and they can be so quickly. They really can be. And if they're not marked, everybody wants to pet them. You're bringing them to crowds. I see so many animals that are at parades with cannons going off and things, that have music bands that are marching, and they really are not having a good time in the sweltering heat. So you do have to pay. If you really love your animal, you don't love them to death.
Right. No, that's exactly right. And, there is, I know we need to wrap up here, but there is quite a cost difference too. So while both are considered assistance animals, the ones who are trained and who are certified, those animals, because they've gone through such extensive training, as Terri, just shared, those animals can be very expensive. And those organizations always accept donations, monetary, to go toward the training of the animals and the care. The emotional support animals, it's just your average cost of owning an animal. And so there really isn't a lot of cost with that. I will tell you, if you're thinking, oh, I'll just get the diagnosis and I will call my animal and an emotional support animal. The state of Indiana is really cracking down on fraud when it comes to emotional support animals. So just as of September of this year, anybody who was caught misrepresenting their animal as an emotional support animal or faking mental health symptoms so they could get that certificate or that diagnosis themselves, they can be fined up to $10,000.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Just do it the right way.
Yeah, do it the right way. There's so much else on, how it keeps people healthy and gets them off the couch and moving to take care of these animals. But you also have to keep in mind. It is. And, but at the same time, keep in mind fall risk and keep in mind, balance and bending over to take care of them and things like that. So do your homework, make sure you're doing what's good for your loved one and what's good for your pets. There's so much more we could talk about on this.
I know.
We have to go.
We have to go. If you want to get in touch with Tina, she can give you more information. Do that. Go to tina@joycehouse.org. We have lots
Caregiver
of
Crossing is supported by AARP. They are leading a revolution in the way people view and live life after 50. We love that they're working to empower people to choose life how they want as they age. We're also supported by our friends at American Village, a senior living community right here in Indianapolis. They offer a full continuum of senior housing and healthcare solutions designed to accommodate a variety of lifestyle choices and healthcare needs. A big thank you to Majestic Care. Majestic Care provides community-based skilled nursing throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, specializing in clinical services based on local needs. Until next time, take good care of each other.